Take it away, Jimmy.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks again for having me, guys. And yeah, apologize. The link I was provided didn't work. So it just kept saying invalid. So yeah, I usually am not late to these kind of meetings. So hopefully those of you that have been here on time weren't waiting too long in annoyance. But hopefully we'll walk away with some good learning stuff. So I have been in the industry, gosh, now going on 13 years. And before KV Core experience, just kind of like echo what Tim is saying, is it is utterly crucial to invest in some form of CRM. If you are going to be in this industry or take your business to the next level, even if you're like, look, I only want to do 15 transactions a year, but manage them well, CRMs, right? And staying in front of your people. And now more than ever, as we know, with different regulations and changes that are happening, your sphere of influence is key. And you want to control the narrative with the different content and things that are changing out there. And doing that with the CRM is utterly essential. And people ask me all the time, not to get too much into my background, but I'm licensed in 4 states, started in Arizona. I now am in between Arizona and Virginia. Even today, physically, I'm in Richmond, Virginia, and work with a few brokerages and coaching and mentoring, and then also do a little bit of sales myself. Um, but with new agents, and they ask what are the must-haves. A lot of times you get in the industry and they're like, well, I need a good social media. I need an Instagram. I need to make sure I got this TikTok thing down. And I need to, spend 5 hours designing my business card. No, 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 no. First thing you need is a CRM. Okay. After you get licensed, get into your CRM. So let's go ahead and just dive in because I know we're starting a little bit late. If you guys could, those of you on camera or in the chats, on a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being that you're pretty confident in where you are on KV Core. You're just joining this class just to see if there is a little bit bits and pieces you can learn. And then 0 being, I didn't even know KV Core existed until this class. I kind of want to get a litmus test of the room of where you are in terms of KV Core, because I don't want to start saying things where you're like, whoa, whoa, how the heck did you get there? And then some of you are like, gosh, this is so elementary. I already got it. Okay. So we got some zeros. We got a couple people that are in the middle, but nobody is saying that I've got a great handle on this. Okay, good, perfect. So we'll start with some of the basic things and then work our way in. Jeff, 6 to 7. I might flip the class over to you to help share some things on your end. But yeah, those of us that are 3, 1, and 5, hopefully we'll walk away with some tangible things. And it definitely is a process. I absolutely agree, Jody. All right, I'm going to share my screen. I like to log in, so not to bore you with these details. Um, I have a couple of different KV cores. So I'm going to log into a version of KV core that is, you're not a new agent, but you also haven't closed 400 transactions, right? You are kind of in the middle where you're starting to percolate and maybe drip on some people. And you want to, you got some of your database in, but they're not fully in. You're starting to do tasks. So you're not brand new. You have a little bit of information, and then go from there. Now, those of you that are getting your KV core through your brokerage, okay, through your brokerage. Um, I know there are a lot of nationwide brokerages that will have KV core as a member benefit of being part of that brokerage. There are different tools and resources that you may or may not have access to. Okay. So I know there's a nationwide brokerage that has KV Core, but they have like 70% of KV Core as the free version. So if you see something that I am doing that you're like, how come I can't do that on my end? Feel free to send me a private message. And then and your brokerage, and we may be able to iron it out. Because there are tiers. There's the full version of KV Core, and then sometimes the free version is a little bit handicapped. Okay. So we're going to work our way down, all managing here on the left hand side. And before we get into the nitty gritty details, I want you to really become familiar with this support and training system. You're not going to walk away with this class being an expert. Okay. I'm hoping that those of you that are 3s get to 5s. Those of you that are 6, you maybe get to an 8. Those of you that are 0, you might get to a 2 by the end of this class. Okay. A little bit more. Where you're going to fill in the gaps is practice. And I encourage you navigate to this learning portal. And just to confirm, those of you that have your cameras on, can you give me a thumbs up that you can see my screen okay? Great. Okay, good. If those of you that are 0s in terms of your knowledge, there's this agent quick start. And if I go to the support center as a whole, you could start to look for and type anything you could think of that you want to learn how to do. I want to learn how to build an individual squeeze page. I can start typing squeeze page and have content just on this one aspect. I want to learn how to do a call capture page. I want to have a lead page. Any of this terminology, get into this learning portal, and you could go into the Agent Quick Start, and what we'll do is you go through all of the curriculum here of managing automation, how to syndicate your listings inside of the system, how to fuel your pipeline, and they'll even do little tests and quizzes for you to make sure you know your knowledge. Okay. So those of you that were in the zero, I highly, highly encourage you. If you take anything from this class, get through the Agent Quick Start. That's going to give you a really good foundation of knowledge to start putting into practice KV Core now. And it might take you, 2.5, 3 hours, spread that over 30 minutes a day for a handful of days, and you'll knock your way out. Okay. That way, some of these things I'm going over, you might be like, how did you get there? That Agent Quick Start is going to really help you. Okay. One of the most underutilized aspects of KV Core that I come across from experienced agents who've been using it for a long time to inexperienced agents uh, is the lead engine aspect. Okay. Why this CRM is so powerful, in my opinion, and I'm not paid by KV Core, I don't work for KV Core. A lot of great CRMs out there, but why I do really like KV Core as well, some of the other ones, is it's not just the CRM, right? When I go to the Smart CRM tab, this is where I'm going to go ahead and enter. Let me zoom a little bit out here. Okay. Hit add contacts. This is where I could just do my one-offs. Okay. You hold an open house. You want to write get their contact information. I'm going to go ahead and enter it in here. That is the one-offs. Okay. Your one-offs here. That's the you go stumble your way through this and be okay. That's not where the meat and potatoes of this content is. Okay. You also have the ability, you also have the ability, and when we get to the end of the class, we'll go through it, to mass import all of your contacts into the system. Okay. So if you're leaving another CRM, or maybe you had an Excel spreadsheet, you're able to export it from CRM A and then import it into here. Now with the importing, there when I go into their features, the marketplace here, you could pay them, okay, to go in and import everything and label it all for you. So if you're like, I got 3,000 people and who knows where they are, there are products that you go in and do that for you. If you have like less than 200 or 300 people, import it yourself. But what's going to happen when you get to your CRM, the power of the CRM is not just the name, the email, it's really the hashtags. Okay. It's the hashtags. So when I mass import, like some of these came from a lead generator sync, that's not enough details or information for me to make them and set them up on some of the automations that I want to do. Okay. As opposed to some of these other individual tasks that I'm able to associate with them. So hashtags, you want to make sure everything's hashtag. So of course, yes, email, phone number, all of that needs to be accurate. But the next thing that you want to really get into, where are they in the process? And it's up to you. Are they a prospect, buyer, prospect, seller, prospect, both? Are they 6 months out, 12 months out? And why it's going to be important when we start building our lead generation and engines and how to sort all of this stuff, we're going to be able to sort with hashtags. And then we're also going to be able to automate and dictate where our source comes from. Okay. So our manual ads versus organic websites. If we are going to incorporate a website into it, if we're going to run Facebook ads, they come through Facebook, right? So on and so forth. So the source of where they came from and the hashtags. That's where I see most people fail with grasping the power of the database itself. So don't worry about, just if you have a bunch of names and emails, that's just step one. You want to make sure you have an accurate handle and uniform. You pick and figure out which hashtags you want to you use and keep them consistent. Because if you start all of a sudden changing, your hashtags, for example, then you're not going to be able to sort them out right away. And we'll go into some actual details of what that looks like. Okay, so that's the base CRM. Let's go back to where I was speaking about the lead engine. I go to left-hand side. And then Tim or Jocelyn, if you're there, if you guys could still, I see there's people in the waiting room. If you're able to omit them, I don't know if you could see them, that'd be great.
Yeah, I've
Okay,
got it.
great.
Thank you.
So lead engine right here in the tab. Landing page, a little bit more involved. We're going to get there. Let's start with a basic squeeze page, a basic squeeze page. It's one thing to have a CRM. It's another, how am I going to funnel people into the CRM? I'm going to start getting people in. Okay. Those of you with listings, you're going to do single property squeeze. Okay. This is where we're going to bump into some broker restrictions. KV Core by default is only going to allow you to promote your listing if it's under your name in the MLS. If it's syndicated, you're allowed it to be syndicated. Okay. So if you have if you don't have a listing, you still want to promote another agent's listing in your brokerage, you may have to have your broker request that support. Because if I start putting an address in here that is not a property, it's not going to find anything. It's only going to allow me to find, for example, this is an existing listing, your actual listing. That's the only thing I can promote on a single property squeeze page. So a simple thing that we're able to do here, I'm going to find my listing, and let's say I'm going to say Facebook, okay? The next aspect in the power of the lead generation is, when do you actually go in for the hook, if you will? And that is the registration, okay? When the listing is promoted, and if we're going to share it on Facebook, for example, how long clicks, in other words, do they get before it forces them to register? And the registration is usually a combination of email or phone number. We'll see what that looks like here. So by default is 2. If it is a property that is on like acreage and has a drone video, and it's really it's one of those that you really want to see, maybe you could go to like 5 or 10. But if it's, it's a 3-bed, 2-bath, stucco, 2,000 square foot home, thousands of those, then maybe just 2, right? So it depends on what kind of listing you're looking at. So let's leave it at 2. Hashtags. You are able to add multiple hashtags at once. Multiple hashtags at once. I'm not doing the spaces here. I'm trying to talk and type at the same time. So a lot of times, agents who are spending money on advertising, Facebook advertising, they usually have their budget set in a monthly rates. So if I'm going to put all my money in promoting this specific listing, and I'm going to run a Facebook campaign for July, I want to be able to track. That's a lot of the issues that agents have is, I spend money on ads, I boost a property, I pay for this, but I can't actually tell, did anything come from this, right? So, and the devil's in the details. You're not going to really know unless you fine tune your exact hashtags. So if I'm going to generate a link for this page and then pay for it to be promoted, any lead that comes from that, I know came from this promotion of this listing. I specifically wanted to be a buyer type style advertisement, and it was my Facebook July 24, for example, campaign, right? So that way you could track accurately where your leads are coming from and if your ads are actually working. Not to get derailed on Facebook ads too much, but I've seen agents spend a lot of money that don't actually know, did they get anything out of it? And that's not a way to go about that, right? Okay, so I'm going to hit generate link. When in doubt, I get asked this a lot. Which one should I use? Which one should I use? When in doubt, always default for your direct link. The reason why your direct link is going to be more accurate is the more hashtags I put, and the more I put this out as clickable hyperlinks elsewhere online, the more the information is not going to be properly syndicated to KV Core. Okay. So these links by default are RSS based. If you've heard of an RSS feed, it literally stands for real simple syndication. So it's simply moving data from website A to website B. If I have a lot of hashtags that it also needs to know where it's going to, the short link isn't going to incorporate all of that data. Also, if you're going to do like an open house registration form and you want to make a QR code, for example, you want to have the direct link because it's going to go from QR code to the direct link to KV Core. You want to make sure all that information is accurate. Okay, so I'm going to hit copy. Another mistake that I see agents make is they'll generate the link and then go in and retro add your hashtags. That's not going to work. Okay. So if I said, oh, you know what? I forgot that this is actually not, it's not going to be my Facebook July. It's going to be Instagram. Okay. Instagram campaign. And I don't regenerate the link, it's still going to be stuck on Facebook. Okay. So you have to generate a whole new link. And it's going to think to then have those accurate hashtags in play. So let's go ahead and go. Okay, here we go. So if I start clicking through and I'm like, you know what? Are there any other properties that are in this area? Okay. Oops. Gina, yes, I see your hand. Let's see if we get you unmuted here. You got a question?
Yeah, hi, Jimmy.
Hey.
So that hashtag you put, it was Facebook July campaign. Do you have to put that in your Facebook ad for it to connect, like to link it to the KV Core?
No, no, thankfully you do not. So that all of that is the Facebook ad campaign is for if anybody clicks that link and you go back into your database and you're able to sort your hashtags, you can see anybody who came in from the Facebook ad that clicked on this link came from this campaign. So let's say 3 months down the road, you're like, wait, where do these people come from? They're in my database. You're able to know where they are. But no, you do not need to do that in order to connect it to KV Core. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Of course. And let's get the screen back up here. Let me lost the screen here for a second. There we go. All right. So as we're fumbling along, clicked on the pictures going through, now I get the force email registration. Okay. This property wasn't the one. I want to look at some other ones. There we go. Now it's forcing me. So if I just go ahead and I'll use, I don't think I've used this one before. And this is my favorite thing. Oops. I'm going to do the registration. Your cell phone number will be your password. That is a genius password because a lot of times you're going to get legitimate cell phones. Not always. Somebody would just be 9999999 because they won't forget it, right? But KB Core is rolling out a little bit of better, I guess you could call it, software that catches that it won't let you do 5555555. It won't let you do 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. It knows that's not a genuine cell phone number, so it's getting better at that. Okay, so I'm going to put in. Now, I already put in the cell phone number, so it might not let me do it. So let's just see. Might just tie me in. Okay, great. So now I, as a consumer, am able to still look at everything. Let's go back, though, into my KV Core. Go back to our dashboard here. Zoom out just a tad. Okay. Once they start funneling in, you're going to get an alert. You're also going to get an alert on your email, and it's going to tell you you have a prospect, what lead generation it went into, and where it came from. And then when I'm able to click on them, I go through, and this is where you're going to want to make sure you confirm the data because sometimes they're going to say it was a renter when it wasn't. It's a buyer. Okay. So you want to go in and change the contact to make sure that's accurate here for your own process in sorting. The next power and aspect that I feel a lot of agents don't do accurately on their KV cores is go through and actually follow up and assign their tasks. Okay. We all know that the sales is in the follow up. So if you try to email, you're going to see all that correspondence here. You want to add a note of when the last time you touched it is. And again, this is going to be more brokerage specific. Okay. If your brokerage is all tied to the same main KB core, you may have other agents that you can then say, hey, this is a listing in this part of town. Maybe it's more conducive to this person, or we're working a team, right? Maybe there's a team of 4 of you. John tried to call on Saturday or emailed. Sarah's going to follow up on Monday. Okay. And you can start adding those things. You could add a lender to your system, especially if they're a buyer. And then here you can start going down to add your individual appointments. Now, one thing that I don't like that they haven't done yet is KV Core does not automatically syndicate to professional Google Workspace. Okay. So if you, like for me, I'm a Google Calendar user. Everything's on Google Calendar for the most part. I have to set up, if I have my calendar here, it doesn't automatically syndicate to that. That is something that they've got a lot of feedback on that they're trying to work with Google to do, because then that would be perfect, right? Anything I put in here, it pops in my Google Calendar. So as long as you keep an up to date on your dashboard, that's going to be where you're going to see all of your tasks and things to do. Okay, a question is, when doing KV Core boosts for listing, what is default views? Is this something that we can set up? When you do your KV Core boosting posts, by default, it's going to be 2. And I think and I'm not mistaken, I'm not 100% sure on this answer. I can find out and get back to you on that. Send you a follow-up email. By default, it's the 2, and it's set at that default. If you want to change it, you have to change it every time you do a different property boost. I can find out more to find out that's accurate, but I'm pretty confidently sure that that's what it's set at. Okay, going back to,
To
yes.
consider, so when you automatically do it, it doesn't lead us to a page that says, okay, the default. Because I boosted my property a couple times and it just automatically does it, but I didn't know if I need to go back to one of the pages to get 3 or 4 views if I need.
Yeah. So let me ask you this, when you go to boost your listing, are you boosting your listing from, like, when you have your listing here, or are you going to marketplace and then going to property boost here? Okay.
I do it. Usually I get an email
Okay.
and I do that, or a pop-up, and then then I'll go that way. And then you get the option of, 45 or 55, 60 different 4 days, 7 days. But I don't see an option of views, and maybe it's something I've missed.
Yeah. So in the marketplace, what I recommend, if you're going to do property boost on a regular basis, you could do your one-off property boost here, and you could also enable your automated property boost, where I do know you're able to then control on all of your defaults of how do you want them, when you want to go out, what type of photos do you want them to pull, and what force registration do you want to utilize. But that is a added feature through the marketplace here. And there, again, not 100% confident. You usually are able to control, well, what is that default setting then? Process lights. But I know the email property boost is more just like, hey, do you want to just throw $50 to this property boost? Not a lot of customization on that one.
Thanks.
Of course. All right, let me go to back to Lead Engine here and go back to Squeeze page. And right now we're talking about how to get more people into the CRM. Okay. On a very easy to do way. How do I get more people into the CRM? No more question. So you have your single property. Let's say you do not have any listings, nor does your broker allow you to promote any other listings inside of the brokerage. Then you're going to go to multi-property. Okay. Multi-property. And this is where you can do a couple of things. You could just do your zip codes. You could do your county, your zips. You could also draw on the map, and it's not as, foolproof as building a search on Flex or CoreLogic, depending on the MLS that you're utilizing. But if you want to do like options, if I don't want to do waterfront properties, depending on where you are, or I want to do golf course properties, that becomes its own kind of lead generation tool, right? All golf course properties sub $550,000 in this geographic region. That's a Facebook header, right? With this kind of link. So you're going to do that through your multi-property. So just for the sake of time, we'll say we're going to go into single family. I'm going to say max 550. Oops. golf course. And let's say I'm going to do, I think it's going to pull up, since I'm physically here. I want to double down. I know I'm kicking a dead horse here. Before you generate the link, make sure you go to your source and make sure that's accurate. If this is going to be something you're going to promote on Facebook, even if it's not an ad campaign, you're just going to do it on your personal social media accounts or your own individual email blast outside of KV Core, because there's a way to email blast to people in your KV Core. Make sure the source is here, okay, and your hashtags. Then when I'm done, so let's say I'm going to do, and what I recommend for your budgeting purposes is it's easier to track. If I'm allotting $3,000 a month to Facebook ads, all of it's under my Facebook July campaign. This one, I could say golf course, because I also am running ads for that listing. And I may also be running ads for what's your home worth. So I want to be able to then, sort your sort. So everything that's under the Facebook ads, but then everything that's under Facebook ads for the golf course results, everything that's under July Facebook ads for the specific listing, and so on and so forth. Okay. I generate a link. Now I have, again, used direct link. All the results of properties that are sub 550 in Richmond, Virginia, that are golf course. Now, what you're banking on is that the listing agent notated it as what? Actually, golf course, right? We're trusting the listing agents notated the property accurately. You're not going to get all of them. I don't know how many times I've seen waterfront properties that don't mention waterfront at all. I guess they just think they must be because where they're located on golf course, right? So that's when you put in the teaser within the Facebook post of, for a more accurate list, right? Fill in this contact information here or whatever it may be, or an up-to-date list in your specific area, make it broad. So it gives them that kind of buy-in. We can go in here. Close this tab. Okay. So once I start clicking on the details, again, you guys already know this. Once I get past a couple of the views here, it's going to do the force registration again. And that's another new lead that came in from this specific links. Now, these links are meaningless unless you are putting them elsewhere, right? And if you aren't running ads, start at least promoting them on your own individual Facebooks or your Instagrams or whatever social media you are. If you're a member of any kind of community event, I know an agent that is on they're like a bicycle club, and every single Saturday they bike X amount of miles and then end up at the same coffee shop. So every single week they do 8.5 by 11 flyer that has all sorts of things that says homes for sale in this area. And that's for this Saturday. Scan the QR code. Next Saturday, they'll bring golf course properties. Next Saturday, they bring waterfront properties. Next Saturday, they bring a flyer that says, and consistently every single month, they're getting 15 to 20 new people built into their database. They've been doing that now for over a year. The bicycle club started in COVID. And the first year, 0 closings. Second year, 1 closing. 3 years out, they have now 10 closings. And they said 2 in the process, directly from bringing an 8.5 by 11 and putting it at that coffee shop that they end up every single time, right? From people, because they keep doing a true guerrilla style market update that people could just scan and look. So these things work. It takes time to build the process, right? So always think of your CRM as a way to funnel people in little by little over time. Okay, so that's a link of multi-page. Another one that works very well, as long as you advertise properly, is the seller squeeze. Okay. Everybody wants to know what their house is worth. So again, how do we get here? Lead engine, squeeze page, seller squeeze. Same exact thing, source, hashtags, generate a link. This one's a little bit less involved, because all it is they're going to put in their address. Okay. Next. And what I love it is that they'll get, I already ran this address. When they get this, not available, not available, it is the easiest way for you to then build them a custom CMA. I almost like when they don't get a value as opposed to when they do, because when they do, they're like, okay, I'm able to, get a number here. This incites even more curious. Like, wait, what do you mean? I don't have a value here. What's going on? Okay. And then they're able to start looking through other listings as well. That's a very, very simple thing. And we'll talk about how to build kind of the CMA as well. Marker reports. The difference between these and the ones, I don't know, depending on where all of you are, if you're on like Flex MLS for your MLS or CoreLogic Matrix for your MLS, all of those, Flex MLS has its own marker reports, CoreLogic Matrix has its own marker reports. But the reason why you generate a default one here is, again, it's a way to build your funnel inside of your direct link. So you could be very broad. I could put in your zip if you want. We could go into a broader area for an entire region. And again, it's just very generic information, but the more links you put out, the more people start funneling as soon as we start clicking. And then I like search your specific area. They put in their information. Okay. So this takes a handful of minutes to do. You don't have to do any editing. You don't have to do any videos. You don't have to do any audios. You just do your source and your links and post those links anywhere you can out there for people to start funneling in. Okay. Once they start funneling in, oops, let's open this app here.
Jimmy,
Yes.
I'm sorry. When you say your source, what if you aren't doing a Facebook ad? What do you put there? I'm sorry, I'm confused.
Yeah.
I'm
So
a one.
no worries. So your source is the source is anywhere that this person sees this link, that they're either clicking on it, or let's say we're doing that example of the agent who's got the bicycle club. Let's say this link is going to be a QR code and it's a coffee shop, right? So I could say whatever the coffee shop is, bike coffee shop. Meaning
So
that,
if
go
you're
ahead.
going to put that link in multiple places, would you put them multiple places there?
No. So great question. I'm so glad you asked that. So let's say I'm going to do the coffee shop. I'm going to put this in my personal Instagram. I'm going to put it on the gym and I'm going to send it out I'm going to do 4 different places. I'm going to generate 4 separate links so I could track
Gotcha.
that. So now I'm going to generate this. Anything that comes through this link, I know came from my coffee shop. Anything that comes from, and I redo it again, I'm going to do it as Instagram. Now I haven't, clicked on the location here. Anywhere I do an Instagram, so on and so forth. The more data you have, the better you are to accurately target your database, and you can actually double down on what's working. So many times, I noticed this earlier, you see agents spending a lot of money on ads, or they're like, I keep emailing my people, but I don't know what's coming back to me. Again, it's usually lack of data there, right? Lack of data. And then answer Paulette's question. I think maybe a little bit later, I think, Tim, you might be able to speak on that a little bit more if you see Paulette's question there. Okay. So that's the simplest way, okay, to start getting people fish in your ponds is the squeeze page. No customization really besides the geographic area, your hashtags, and your sources. A little bit more involved and customizable are your landing pages. And again, just because we want to start from basics, left-hand side, lead engine, build landing page. It's going to open up your second tab here. This is your default landing page. You're able to dictate what is the goal of this landing page? Do I want this to be just a video? Okay. This is where, some agents will create a video about their listing and then post it. So if somebody scans a QR code, clicks a link, automatically plays, right, a video. Now, this is where I might lose some of you because we're going to get a little bit technical here, especially if you are zero. You have to upload your video to YouTube first. Then you could bring it onto your landing page. And I want to show you, if you're not using tools like ChatGPT, I highly encourage you to, or at the very least, you could go on, use Google, okay? Use AI with Google, or just search, literally, how to upload video to YouTube, okay? So please never say, well, I don't know. I don't know how to do that. That's too confusing. It seems too involved. I promise you it's not as hard as it seems. Simply upload. Okay. If you use Google's Gemini or if you use ChatGPT, say, hey, I have no idea how to use computers in the simplest way. Teach me how to upload a video to YouTube. And ChatGPT or Gemini will say, do this, do that, do this, do that, do this. Okay. Great. Ginger, can you use a video grab link for Canva? I have never tried. And I don't think you can. Oh, but I haven't tried. Just because the way the format is for the landing page, and this is the video that's going to walk you through of how to do it. And I want to put it on the big screen so we can see it. This might make a little bit more sense of why it has to be YouTube here. So bear with me while we get this audio up.
Here's how to change the video on this page. Your video will go right where this current video is. And the first step is for you to upload your video to YouTube. So once you've got it uploaded to YouTube, the second step is going to be to insert your YouTube video ID in the box up above, which looks like this. So if you look up top, you'll see a box that says YouTube ID. Now the ID is the V parameter, and that might sound fancy, but basically it's the number and letter string, the stuff after the V in your YouTube video URL. So what I have for you here is an example of a YouTube video URL, and you can see that it's got this question mark V equals, and in this case, you would just take the stuff after the V. Now, if you see another and sign and other content here, like an and sign after this V, and you see more stuff, just ignore that and only get the stuff after the V. Hope that makes sense. If you need any help at all, feel free to just email the link.
So that's coming from their support team. Now, as you can imagine, a lot of people have asked, can we make this simpler, please? Right? Because I got to go to YouTube. I got to do this. I got to do that. I got to copy and paste. Right? Once you do it once or twice, though, it's really not that hard. I promise you. It seems a little technical, but it's not. So these are great if you are getting listing videos done for your listings. If you're doing a small walkthrough of a neighborhood and you want to showcase that, that's how you're going to do that with your landing page. Okay. The other thing we're able to do, if I'm going to promote my individual, remember we did the very simpler version of the squeeze page. If I want a little bit more in depth and interaction, you could do the chat with me now feature. If you are set up with Meta Business, so Facebook Meta Business, and you're running your ads through there, and you could have it kind of do an automatic chat and their little chat AI to start interacting with it. And I don't have my phone connected to the my Zoom here, but I'm going to put it on the camera. And the screenshot here, when I came back to the website and the squeeze page, I got a text message that the KV Core sent to me, and it says, "Hi, Jimmy. Thanks for visiting our site. Are you focused on any specific areas, property types?" And it's like it came from me, Jimmy Garcia, Next Home Advantage. And then on the agent side, I get another text that said a new behavior alert contacted was texted from your smart number. And then it gives me the link. So directly from my phone, I can click and say, it brings me straight into my database. And it says, hey, that guy that clicked on this link, he looked at this property. You should reach out to them. So that's why you want to make sure that you have your alerts enabled, because you get instant notification on that. Okay. Address capture, just like it's just like your squeeze page. Content hijacked. This is going to be more those of you who are using your Google ads. And when you're browsing on Google and on a random page, it says, real estate agent or listing, you weren't even looking for listings. That could be kind of a content hijack tab. Or if I click on that, I could say, okay, let me see this list of properties. But really the main things, I would say video plus lead, regular video. And if you want to know the difference is video plus leads has them put in their information right here. Okay. Their contact information when they signed up versus just a regular. And Facebook chat. Now, because we're dealing with a lot of people who don't have a lot of familiarity with KB Core, I don't want to then start talking about this tool called ManyChat, because that's a whole nother world. But there are automated chat features that do a really good job filling you in here. Okay. So, Jeff, did you have a question here? You were unmuted, but then you got muted again.
Yeah. You
There we
there?
go. Yes.
Okay, sorry. This is one of the things that frustrated me. When I do some advertising, I kind of look at it from the point of view of a potential buyer. And if you go back to that other screen that we just were on, when I was trying to build landing pages in it, and to me, unless I'm doing something wrong, whatever the landing page is, you see just that. Your town real estate, all this stuff. And instead of seeing, okay, they see the you can do the chat. But to me, that deters me from going any farther than after I see this screen. Is this screen customizable anyway to put any of your, I mean, obviously up on top, my broker's there,
Right.
but I mean, this picture of this random lady, as opposed to, a scene of Lake Havasu or something like that.
Yes.
Some sort of eye-catching way to modify these.
Yes, absolutely.
And
So yeah, great question, Jeff. Okay, so there's a couple of ways to answer that. A simple change is right up here. They give you all these defaults, right? I could go to a villa, I could go to a farmhouse, so I could do a very simple generic change. Or if I want to get really custom, I could go into a custom background and then put in my own URL and my own individual page. So I know, for example, a lot of like real estate photographers, they'll build you like a website for your listing. And you're like, you know what? That looks way better than this KB Core one. I'm going to have that be my custom background image for this. And I can bring in my own URL. So they have, some generic ones built in already, but then you could kind of bring in your own custom background. Or if you have a beautiful, great, serene listing photo, you could do the primary MLS listing right there and put in your MLS ID number.
could you add your own image from your own library?
No, that is a no, and I can't just raw upload. So I can either have it elsewhere on a URL, which if you upload your image to like Google Photos, you could get the URL that way, or the image from the MLS. But I hear you. It would be nice if I could just click, I have it on my desktop, I just want to upload that, right? That would be simpler. But unfortunately,
Okay, and then but this verbiage stays there no matter what.
yes. Oh, no. Sorry. The verbiage does not. Okay. So I could go ahead and oops, lost my mouse here. The background image is changeable, and then let's get our screen back. Keep losing screen. You select what you want to change, and now I could go ahead and click and change it to this. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So yeah,
So I could delete it all together and add my
yeah,
own
exactly.
stuff. Gotcha.
I could remove all
Can
that.
you put hyperlinks in there?
That's a good question. I haven't tried. Let's try that. Let's do that live just because I am curious. I have never tried that before. So if I put in, let's say, a link, but it's not going to give me the ability to create it as a hyperlink. But if I put in a short link, Let's just say I want to put in, I don't think it's going to make a clickable link. My default, my gut is
Okay.
no, but I am curious to explore that further because that is interesting. But you can change the text or delete it altogether.
Yeah, because I'm kind of, and I've kind of been doing a lot of this on our Realty One Group Mountain Desert website. And I've been trying to drive them to that, which then gets me kind of back to here. So I'm seeing where this is a little more simplistic. It kind of eliminates the need to go to my website.
Right.
So
And
so
so
that might,
go ahead.
yeah, no, so I'm just thinking, I don't know if I necessarily need, my first thought was do a link to my website, but maybe that's not necessary.
No, and I would, the first thing I usually do with agents who have like a broker page or their own little website, I have it usually get redirected here because you want to kind of funnel into your CRM anyway. Um, you could also, if they already have, for instance, when I signed up as a lead, KV Core knows I'm already active. So you could click on this URL after login, which what that would do is it will redirect them to like a different page. Okay. So if you want them to go back to then your brokerage page after they log in, it will send them there automatically. And that's this option right up here. URL off the
Oh,
login.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That would be what I'd want the link for. So that works.
Yep.
Okay.
That's
Thanks.
right there. Of course. Okay, we have a couple of minutes left, and I want to show you some other, tangible things. Again, it's about getting people into your database with the lead engine tools. The other one is dealing with your smart numbers and your call and capture. So again, I'm back in my lead engine now. I'm going to go call and capture. Click right here. And you get assigned by default your own little smart number. You can pay and customize. Okay. You could order and customize your own individual number if you want. I personally, now if you're doing a lot of these, you may need that. And this is where I would say, not that anybody's always thinking about changing brokerages. The one downfall of if your KV Core is from your brokerage, if you ever leave that brokerage, that smart number does not go with you. Okay. That smart number does not go with you. So just word of advice. If you're like, even if I leave this brokerage, I still want to use KV Core on my own, then I would encourage you, get your own smart number. I don't know what the current price is now. I haven't double checked, but I think the last time I checked, if anybody knows in the chat, feel free. It wasn't that expensive, I believe. Because if you're, like EXP, for example, or Nexhome, like the one I'm affiliated with Virginia, it is provided through the brokerage. If you ever leave EXP, or if you leave Nexhome, or you leave any of the franchises or brokerages that are providing it to you, your smart number stays with the brokerage. Okay. So this number and all the things that get sent to it are no longer yours. All of your CRM you could export, but that number is not. Okay. So whether you're using your own number or the one that's given to you, you could create your own custom code. Okay. So let's say it's your name. Or I know a lot of agents would do the address of the property. So text, let's say it's a 123 Main Street. Text 123, and you can send a message to, and it could automatically reply with whatever your action's for. Okay. So what do you want to send? Do you want to send a message? And you can type that here. Hey, thanks for registering. We'll follow up with a complete CMA. That's if you're going to build like a text for your home value. Or if it's for your listing, send them the MLS ID number. So once basically what's going to automatically respond when they send that text? Is it a link to your listing or is it a message? Now, if it is a message, the good news is you get alerted too. So if your message is, we're going to send you a custom home valuation report within 6 hours or whatever it is, right? Make sure you do that within 6 hours because it's going to notify you that somebody sent and you're able to respond. More often than not, it's typically for listings, right? Able to promote what listing you want to be sent over to them. Okay.
How'd you get to that point? I missed that.
Yeah, no worries. Okay. So it's a great thing. So again, start from scratch on the left-hand side, lead engine, call and text capture. Once you're there, you can scroll down and you'll be able to see add new, and you could add, well, what do you want to do? What's the code? So let's say it's your listing, 123 Main. And then you could put in your MLS ID number for that listing. So if somebody texts 123 name to your smart number, okay, it's going to respond with a link to your listing with all that information to your KV core. Or you could have it be a message that gets sent to them, So let's say that you are curious about your home's worth. Let's say you build a sign writer that says that, curious about your home's worth, text, home value to blah, blah, blah. So text home value, and your response could be, thanks for reaching out. We're going to build a in-depth comparable market analysis report for your home's value in X amount of hours. And that would be a message that gets sent to them automatically. Okay.
So you just put that into contact in KV Core.
Yes. So so when they text, they're going to automatically get back into your smart CRM. Right. And that's where the hashtags come. So let's say it's going to be seller squeeze post. So let's say I have a listing and I have a sign writer, and my sign writer says, curious about your home's worth, text home value to 804, blah, blah, blah. Anybody who texts that number is going to automatically get a response message with whatever I type here. And then once they send it, it's also going to end up here in my smart CRM. Okay. That they texted that number for this information. And then I will also get notification on my cell phone that says somebody reached out to you, curious about their home's worth, or whatever response message is.
So I'm sorry, I guess I'm kind of lost. So you promote that smart number? Is that what you do?
Yes. So that's why I was advocating that if it is provided to your brokerage, unless you're like, I'm never leaving my brokerage, just know that smart number is from the brokerage. If you want to do your own custom number that's just yours to keep forever, that's when you go back into Lead Engine or your the marketplace, and you could buy your own number. Okay.
Gotcha. Okay. I think I got it.
Especially because if people are going to pay for the investments of making signs, if I'm going to make 5 or 6 sign writers, I want to make sure that number stays with me, right? Forever, more or less. All right. I know we went a little bit above time, but we also got started a little bit late. Tim, I see you're unmuted here. Do you have anything to add?
Yeah, there is one question in the chat if you want to reference that particular question, and then we'll wrap things up.
Okay, great. Okay, please show how do I duplicate a search once I've created one for a client I want to easily use for another client. I just can't figure that out. Okay, great. Oh, we lost the screen here. Yeah, let's go back into our system. And one of the things you reminded me of searches, which we didn't even touch on right now, is the web IDX that you're able to do. And let me go back here. My mouse is dying, guys. I'm sorry. Okay. We are stuck on the screen. Now we're seeing Zoom. Bear with me. Okay. Go on to the left-hand side. We're going to go to Web IDX. And the easiest way to do this for multiple people is create a search that is an IDX of your MLS. So for example, Flex MLS users, I create with through your IDX, you have a baseline or default search, you create a custom page that then you could use for every single client over and over and over and over and over again. So if it's going to be like an IDX of all homes, like let's say we're in Arizona in the East Valley, all single family homes sub $600,000 in Gilbert, Queen Creek, and Mesa. That's going to be a search that this website always has those listings. Always has those listings. Then I just want to send that URL of this page to anybody in my database. That's going to be the easiest way to duplicate searches that are going to be those mainstays for people. But you want to make sure they're broad enough that you are able to send. So if it's going to be a custom search, then you're going to kind of customize them to each individual. But some of the more broad ones of like all this city or all this type of property or all golf course, like we were saying a little earlier, then make it as your own IDX here on the left-hand side with your website, because this website is going to have its own URL. So when I go in and mass to my CRM, okay, let's say I want to send out an email to everybody or this person, all I gotta do is copy and paste that URL of the search, and that's a clickable link. That's already rerouting them back to my KB core as well. Okay, so that's going to be here. Now,
Okay, question
know-
on that web IDX, I don't have that. I don't have that on my left-hand side. That's probably why I can't find it. I have Web Manager. So I don't see Web IDX.
Okay, so when you go to you have pages.
All marketing, I keep going down. Okay, so my left side doesn't look like yours and mine's a freebie. So maybe that's the problem. I've tried everything. I've been chatting with them, and all I want is 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 3-car garage under 600K with something like that. Then just keep copying it. So I can't just do that with a search and a hashtag. So I have to go to this Web IDX, right?
Right, because it's gonna make you create that. So I get what you're saying. I want to do 3 beds, and every single contact, can I just click a button and they have that search too? No, it's gonna make you make that search for them individually. The only way around that's gonna be this way. And inside of the chat, I also put my email. That way you could email me and we could maybe dive into a little bit more. But yeah, if you don't have access to the pages here, then unfortunately it would be more of a manual process for each contact to create searches.
Okay, and because every time I and for all the other agents too, whenever I boost, I always get 6 to 10 leads. And then I wanted to just automatically send them things, but I have to manually do it for each one then. Okay, that saves me a lot of hours.
Yeah, it does. Now what
Causes
MLS do
me
you
a
have,
lot, but
and this is applicable to everybody too listening. What MLS do you have access to? Is it Flex or Matrix?
we're all in Havasu, we're Flex.
Okay, Flex. So what I would do is create your search in Flex and then export that search as a mass text or email to all of those people. So the search itself is going to be coming through Flex. So they're not going to be rerouted. You're not going to see what they're clicking on, except if you go back to Flex. But that will be a little bit easier, because if you have 10 to 15 people and you have to create a search every single time, it might be easier to create one big search on Flex. Here's a link to that search to all these people. So you'll see every time they click the link. Unfortunately, you won't know what properties they're looking at, but at least that's a way to get them on.
But then to get them into the search alerts, I still have to manually do that, correct?
Right. Unless they're going to just be set up on the Flex MLS search, which is outside of this. Yeah, correct. It'll be manual.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, of course.
Great stuff, Jimmy. Great stuff.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys having me. At KB Core is it's like drinking from a fire hose sometimes. So that's why you kind of just need to tackle one topic, like a lead generation, and you can topic websites, then you can tackle this thing. But I encourage anybody who were saying there were zeros earlier, do that agent quick start. That's going to give you, a head and shoulders above knowledge, just spending the 2.5 hours to work through that, and you have a really good handle. So next time you do a KB Core class, whether it's through us or anybody else, you have a pretty good solid footing to work with.
Absolutely. Well, thanks so much, Jimmy. We appreciate your valuable time. To each and every one of you that actually joined us today, I thank you for your valuable time. If you're in Arizona or Nevada and you are using Rock Title or Rock Title Agency, thank you for your loyalty. If you are not using us, please consider writing us in on one of your next escrows. We certainly appreciate that. If you don't know an escrow officer, my contact information is in the chat area. We appreciate you, and thanks again, Jimmy.
Take care, everyone. Thank you.